Welcome back, subscribers. This is Johnny Hopper, and in today's video I'm going to go over round 10 in Latvia as far as the MXGP. Stay tuned. So first I want to get the terrain. In Latvia, it looked like a very sandy track. And the track that comes to mind to compare here in America has got to be Southwick. And when it comes to suspension setup, well, you typically want to go stiffer on your fork compression and slower on your rebound. Basically stiffen up the shock because you want the bike to ride higher. You don't want it to squish down because with sand there gets these big rollers, not these small choppy bumps. So you want to have the bike ride a little bit higher in the travel. And not to mention, you don't have to use your brakes a lot because sand ends up slowing you down itself because it's very thick. I've said it before, I like how they do qualifying, you know, where on Saturday you have a free practice session, then you have a timed practice session, and then you actually have a qualifying moto that's actually for the gate pick for tomorrow's race, you know, the actual two moto format. So you can be super fast in time qualifying, but if you don't do well in the race, well, you're gonna have a crappy gate pick. Just like Tim Geiser, he ended up on Saturday, it looked like he finished 18th. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him. I decided not to watch qualifying this time, but he ended up 18th. And Jeffrey Herlings ended up winning qualifying, so he had first position. And then Cairoli, he ended up 12th. So these guys had a little bit of a mix-up just going for gate position. And when we get into just practice times, Tim Geiser actually had the fastest time with a 152.4. Herlings was actually 5th. Cairoli, he was 13th. And Tonis was 7th with a 153.5. So a full second slower than Tim Geiser. Prada was actually a 153.9 in the 250 class. So he was just a little over a second, almost a second and a half slower than Geiser. But he's on a 250, and these are 450s in sand. If you've ever ridden in sand, it slows you down quite a bit. Anyway, moving on to the actual motos. Probably the biggest upset is Jeffrey Herlings. He ended up having a sight lap crash. When was the last time you heard of somebody getting injured on the sight lap? You know, you're kind of rolling around the track. It looks like on a downhill side, he somehow crashed on the bottom of a tabletop, and one of the riders looks like they might have hit him. It almost looks like he was going to get run over, but it looks like maybe he got his foot peg of the other rider hit his ankle and actually broke his ankle. So he had a broken ankle during Moto 1, and he was still able to win that moto. Pretty impressive, but unfortunately he wasn't able to line up for Moto 2, and who knows if he's going to have surgery on that ankle. He said that was the ankle that he's hurt in the past, so sucks for Jeffrey Herlings because he won qualifying and he won the first moto, so damn. And the sand really takes it out of you. It's really hard to ride in, especially for 30 minutes plus too. And Cairoli, he's my main man. I've liked him for a long time. It's hard to bet against him. He got the whole shot. So then it was Herlings in second and Tonis in third. But not for long because Tonis was able to get around Herlings with a nice inside line that was on the inside of a bunch of braking bumps and was able to block past Herlings. And the next lap caught right up to Cairoli and did the exact same move. And then he was able to ride out front with a clear track for the next 25 minutes or so. And Herlings obviously had a nice outside line against Cairoli, and then towards late in the moto, the last couple laps, was able to finally make the pass on Tonis and actually run away with, well, take the win with a broken ankle, might I add. So it ended up being Herlings with first, Tonis was second, Cairoli was third, Febra was fourth, Sewer was fifth, and Geiser was sixth. Some very fast guys in the top six. Moving on to moto number 2. So in moto number 2, while Geyser, Sewer, and Tonus were out front, Antonio Cairoli goes down hard. He looks like the bike starts swapping, and it goes over a small mid straightaway jump, and he ends up landing sideways and then just gets reamed high-sided into the ground and dislocates his shoulder. You can see him get up, and he's holding that arm. And later on social media confirms that he dislocated his shoulder, and he's going to go to the doctors this week to see what he can do, if he's going to have surgery. I personally think he's going to try to tough it out because has 9 world titles, and now he's 33 points behind Geyser for the championship, and he wants to tie 10 world titles with Stefan Everts. Can he do it? Man, the cards are stacked against him. It seems mid-season things are just unraveling for him, and it really, really sucks. And not to mention, Herlings getting into the mix doesn't help when it comes to mixing up points, but it sounds like he might be out for the rest of the season with that broken foot. But the man that was on the move in the moto was definitely Febvre. He was able to catch Tonus and get around him, and then late in the moto make a fairly sketchy pass on Sewer. It almost looked like he just came inside to outside to block him, but it was in a rolling section where you're jumping, and with the sand ruts, Sewer had nowhere to go, so they almost ran into each other, and it could have taken them both out. But anyway, Tim Geyser ended up winning the moto. Febvre ended up second, Sewer was third, and Tonus ended up fourth. So when it comes to the overall, Tim Geyser ended up getting it with a 6th and a 1st, and Febvre ended up getting second with a 4th and a 2nd, and then Tonus was 2nd 4, and so second moto breaks the tie. Again, if you saw my video I did yesterday about the motocross, how there was almost a 3-way tie between Anderson, Tomac, and Roczen. Well, here's a 3-way tie for 40 points between Geyser, Febvre, and Tonus. And yeah, second moto breaks the tie, but there's nothing for the championship for first, second, and third. When this happens, I believe there definitely should be some sort of a breakdown, not just purse money and goes in the record books that, hey, I beat this person. There should be some sort of a bonus point for first and second, and maybe third just gets to keep the 40 points. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I know I haven't covered any of the 250s. I will start covering the 250s at a later time. Thanks for watching. This is Johnny Hopper. Until next time, brop.